Beneath a modern town, a forest of columns wakes from darkness. At Esna, the ceiling stars are bright again, gods emerging out of centuries of soot, as if the paint were still wet. But the images present us puzzles, strange constellations, cryptic titles, rituals of day and night. Follow the river a little farther, and it takes us to El Tod, where a modest temple once guarded a secret. Metal and ingots from faraway shores, a treasure sealed away in the Middle Kingdom and forgotten. Who brought those riches here, and why did they bury them under a shrine of Montu? Today we walk into color that shouldn't have survived and try to make sense of an unexpected treasure. 2 temples, 2 mysteries, one in the heavens and the other underground. If you're just catching up with us, we have just seen the amazing ruins of Nekheb and Nekhen in Upper Egypt, and are now planning to head north on our 2 dahabeyas to visit 2 sites along the Nile. My name is David Miano, and I'm a historian leading a tour group through the land of the pharaohs. If you like ancient history, stick with us, because I'll show you things you likely have never seen before. Our first stop is Esna. Esna is located approximately 34 miles, 55 kilometers, south of Luxor, on the western bank of the Nile River in Upper Egypt. The city's position facilitated trade routes that connected Upper and Lower Egypt in ancient times, contributing to its prosperity and enabling the construction and maintenance of its impressive temple complex. During Egypt's Middle Kingdom, the settlement functioned as an important political center, while the New Kingdom period saw its development as a major trading site. The city served as the capital of the 3rd nome of Upper Egypt during the Greco-Roman period, establishing its political and administrative importance alongside its religious functions. During that time, the city was known as Latopolis, a name derived from the sacred Nile perch, yes, a fish, which held particular religious significance in the local cult practices. This fish, the largest of the 52 species inhabiting the Nile in ancient times, was considered sacred, and was even buried in a dedicated cemetery located west of the town. The abundance of this species in the Nile waters near Esna made it a natural symbol for the city, and it frequently appeared in sculptural decorations alongside symbols of the goddess Neith, whom the Greeks associated with Pallas Athena. The standout part of the archaeological remains is the Temple of Khnum.
We are at the ancient city of, well, today it's called Esna, but it was called Unit back in the day. Notice, if you will, how much lower on the ground we are than the current street level today. This is, of course, the principle of archaeology. Things get built on top of each other. And as a matter of fact, if we go down here, they've actually found an earlier temple of Thutmose III that was here. But this is a Ptolemaic period temple. It was built by Ptolemy VI, who you can see here on the front, and then some more was done by his brother Ptolemy VIII. They hated each other's guts, but at least they got this temple done. This is a temple dedicated to Khnum. We've seen Khnum before, right? Khnum was the ram-headed god we've seen down in Elephantine. And by the way, in Elephantine, the triad of Khnum, Satet, and Anuket, I think it'd be traced back to about the New Kingdom, but not too much earlier. But Khnum himself had been around for a very long time. We have evidence of his existence in the pyramid texts from the Old Kingdom in the 5th dynasty. So we know at least by the 5th dynasty he already was worshipped. And here's a little trivia point for you. The king who had the Great Pyramid constructed, Khufu, well, Khufu was his shortened name. His full name was Khnum Khufu. All right? Yes, it means Khnum will protect, I believe, something like that. But they just call him Khufu for short. The inscriptions have some rules for the priests that I thought were kind of interesting. So get a load of this. So they had to be clean when they entered. It's part of the purity of the priests. But it specifically says, make sure that your toenails and fingernails are trimmed and cleaned underneath before you go in. All hair on your body must be removed. That's why you see priests are often bald. Yeah, they remove all the hair on their body. They have to wash their hands with natron. It's a salt substance used in preservation, of course, and for mummification, but they used it to clean themselves. And the priests were also prohibited from wearing wool. That was considered inappropriate. They had to be dressed in linen. Linen was the preferred clothing material. And they had to abstain from sex for several days before they entered the temple. So, so you think about asceticism and things like that, and purity and priesthood. In a lot of cultures, a lot of the same things are considered impure, and of course, sex is one of them. All right. I don't know how you would prove that you didn't have sex for several days, but maybe it was on the honor system.
The temple contains the only intact example of a Greco-Roman temple entrance hall, a pronaos. This remarkable structure rises nearly 50 feet in height, creating an overwhelming sense of scale and grandeur that immediately captures your attention. Several months ago, after years of discomfort, I finally obtained a new mattress from a company called NOLA. Why I didn't do this sooner and unnecessarily suffered, I don't know. But NOLA is an award-winning mattress brand known for its cooling technology, exceptional pressure relief, and long-lasting durability. I got the NOLA Evolution Luxury Firm mattress. The mattress, fiberglass-free by the way, comes rolled up in a box and is easy to set up. Let me tell you, it changed my life, not only because I sleep better, but a well-rested me has a generally better quality day. So a big thanks to NOLA for sponsoring this video.
I don't want to get up. Pressure point relief that it has is saving me from the aches and pains I was having.
If you're looking to upgrade your sleep, head to nolamattress.com and use the code WORLDOFANTIQUITY to get an extra $50 off your NOLA mattress. This is a higher discount than what is being offered on their website. NOLA mattresses come with a 120-night sleep trial to test the mattress out and ensure you love it. And they offer financing options and flexible payment plans.
See up there? No. Look at that. They've got people working on restoration work on the art. Now, at one time, this ceiling was just caked in soot, all black. But the work over the recent years here that these men are doing are uncovering the great artwork, and the color is still there. Now, if you notice, there are two sides to this temple. There are 12 columns on this side and 12 columns on this side. The representations we see in the art here have to do with the night, and over here with the day. And for this reason, we believe that the 12 and 12 columns, the 24 columns, may represent the 24 hours of the day.
The joint Egyptian-German restoration project, initiated in 2018, represents one of the most successful temple conservation efforts in modern Egypt. Using primarily distilled water and alcohol, the conservation team has systematically removed layers of soot, dust, bird droppings, and salt crystallization that had obscured the temple's original decoration for nearly 2 millennia.
You can kind of see the line here where they stopped cleaning. So all above that line is the new cleaned wall, but they still have the work to do here on the bottom. See? Now, we've seen color before, but not this vivid. And look at the color on the columns. Every hieroglyph is painted.
The column capitals, carved from red sandstone, display different plant motifs, including lotus leaves, palm fronds, and various floral combinations. This variation represents an exception in Egyptian temple architecture, where uniformity in capital design was typically preferred. The second register of the columns contains extensive texts describing religious festivals and hymns to the gods of Letopolis, a feature unique among surviving Egyptian temples where columns typically display only offering scenes. Of particular interest is a hymn to Khnum written using hieroglyphs in the form of a crocodile at the east corner, with the same text repeated at the opposite corner using traditional ram head hieroglyphs. The divine assemblage of Khnum, his consorts Menhit and Nebtu, their son Heka, and the ancient goddess Neith, made the temple function as a kind of spiritual workshop of creation. This made it a unique destination within the broader landscape of Egyptian religious sites, offering visitors direct connection to the mythological origins of humanity itself. The restoration work has revealed that many decorative elements were created through multiple phases of artistic work, with initial designs sometimes corrected or modified during the painting process. The discovery of previously hidden painted inscriptions demonstrates that the decorative program was more extensive than previously understood, with significant portions of the ceiling and architraves containing texts that were invisible until recent cleaning. The astronomical ceiling is one of only 2 surviving examples of large astronomical ceilings in Greco-Roman Egyptian temples, the other being at Dendera. We'll be going there in a later episode. The ceiling is divided into 3 segments, separated by a central band decorated with a double row of 46 vultures, representing the goddesses Nekhbet of Upper Egypt and Wadjet of Lower Egypt. 24 vultures bear vulture heads and represent Nekhbet, wearing white hedjet crowns, the crowns of Upper Egypt, while 22 display cobra heads, representing Wadjet, with red deshret crowns, crowns of Lower Egypt. This central procession creates a powerful visual statement about the unity of Egypt under divine protection. The ceiling incorporates both traditional Egyptian astronomical figures and zodiacal signs derived from Greco-Roman traditions, creating a unique synthesis of cosmological systems.
And you can see he have like 2-sided head looking.
Oh yeah, the two-headed snake.
Yeah, one east, one west. And
Who,
you can see
who is it?
No, it's you cannot say like
Oh, it's not
who
named.
this person, but it used to be connected to the underworld side, to the darker side.
And who that right in front of the snakes, is it hippo or alligator or crocodile? What is
No, it's crocodile, alligator.
but so back above is crocodile.
Yeah,
It's
but
different.
he's depicted as a hippo with body. With a hippo body,
hippo body?
with the head of
With head of crocodile.
hair.
A hippo body with the head of a crocodile.
yeah.
And human arms.
Yeah, and human arms.
And this, we believe this, so the snake is representing Osiris, the underworld, like the king of the underworld, and this is the tree that have been found in the coffin of Osiris when he was floating in the Nile River before Isis bring him to life again, before his brother cut him to pieces.
Oh, are those the hands of Noop? Oh, yeah, it looks like Noop here, right?
Nut, yeah.
Universe.
Going around.
So this is
oh, yeah.
presenting Nut. All the stars is presenting Nut. You can see it in all
So
the
this is the
colors.
whole sky. We're looking
Yeah.
at the sky. Okay.
We have another picture of Nut.
Oh, there she
All
is.
the
Yeah.
goddess and Betah. You can see Betah at the left side. So here we have another.
Recent cleaning has revealed previously unknown constellation names and astronomical texts that expand our understanding of ancient astronomical knowledge. The starry imagery served not only decorative purposes, but also functioned as a practical guide for timing religious festivals and ceremonies according to celestial cycles. Many inscriptions employ complex wordplay and multiple levels of meaning, requiring extensive scholarly expertise for interpretation. This cryptographic approach to writing demonstrates the sophisticated intellectual traditions maintained by the temple's priests. The back wall of the hypostyle hall features depictions of Ptolemy VI and Ptolemy VIII. The temple naos, the inner sanctuary, was constructed under Ptolemy V and later decorated by Ptolemy VI, Cleopatra II, and Ptolemy VIII. But most of what survives today dates to the Roman period. The pronaos was begun during the reign of Emperor Claudius and completed under Vespasian, whose name and titles appear in the dedicatory inscription over the entrance.
Here we have an ancient superhero flying in an energy field with his trusty companion crocodile. Just goes to show the advanced technology that they had in those days.
The removal of thick black soot has revealed Greek inscriptions drawn in red ink, including a text from the reign of Emperor Domitian that records a specific date corresponding to late June or early July, potentially marking the completion of temple construction. Wall reliefs throughout the pronaos depict traditional offering scenes, but with Roman emperors replacing pharaohs as the primary royal figures. Particularly notable is a relief showing Emperor Trajan dancing before the goddess Menhit, demonstrating the adoption of pharaonic religious practices by Roman rulers. Other inscriptions document the involvement of emperors Titus, Hadrian, Marcus Aurelius, and Caracalla. This sustained imperial patronage demonstrates the temple's significance even under Roman rule. Archaeological evidence indicates that the temple's decorative program required approximately 200 years to complete. The decline and eventual abandonment of the temple complex occurred gradually during the late Roman and early Christian periods. By the late 3rd or early 4th century CE, the main sanctuary had presumably been closed, and residents of Esna began dismantling portions of the structure to repurpose building blocks for canal construction. The pronaos survived this destruction because it was converted to secular use, serving as a shelter for the next 1,500 years, and later functioning as a warehouse for cotton and ammunition storage during the 19th century. We were back on board our dahabeahs, the Hadil and the Veda, and let me tell you, there is no better way to travel in Egypt than to do it the way the ancient Egyptians did it, on the river. Our next destination is the site of El Tod, further to the north. To get there, we had to pass through the Esna Lock at the Esna Barrage. About 12.5 miles, approximately 20 kilometers, south of modern Luxor, directly across the river from Armant, ancient Hermonthis, stands El Tod, ancient Djerty, meaning the falcon, a city known to the Greeks as Tufium. The Egyptian name is a reference to the falcon Montu, Thebes' war god, and El Tod was one of his 4 chief cult centers, the other 3 being Armant, Medamud, and the Montu precinct at Karnak. Together, these 4 shrines formed a protective ring around the Theban heartland. The modern village of El Tod has grown around and partially over the ancient ruins. Unlike the vast state temples that dominate the postcard views of Egypt, El Tod is an intimate archive. History thousands of years old, and people rarely visit. But we will.
Oh, there's the gate.
Blocks found here, with the names of the 11th dynasty kings Mentuhotep II and III, indicate that they had construction projects here and promoted the worship of Montu, which is fitting for rulers whose very names mean Montu is satisfied.
Here we are at the site of ancient Djerty, it was called. It's not far from Luxor. It is the site of a temple to the Theban god Montu. This goes way back. Today it's called El Tod, and what we have here are the remains of a temple. Now this temple here is a Ptolemaic temple. It's from the time of Ptolemy VIII, Ptolemy the Potbelly, but there are remains of earlier temples here, going all the way back to the Old Kingdom. Yes, Montu temples were built here as early as the Old Kingdom. We're going to go look at the evidence in a second. And Middle Kingdom pharaohs such as Mentuhotep I and Amenhotep I, they constructed things here as well. And the temple has a vast array of fragments all over. You can see pieces from different time periods. So it's really quite interesting to see one of the major cult centers for Montu here, and no one comes to this site. I brought the tour group here. Nobody comes here, but we wanted to show you things that nobody else sees. So let's go take a closer look. So right here, you can see, of course, the current temple is on top of something older. They've dug down here on the sides, and what do we see here? The remains of an older temple upon which this one is built. Yes, there were earlier temples to Montu here, and so the white area here is where they dug out, and you can even see some of the imagery here. You can see a foot here of probably a king or a god, and it would have gone much higher, but it was removed when they placed the new temple here. But here we have our evidence of a newer temple on top of an older temple.
What we are seeing down there are the remains of a white limestone temple of Senusret I of the 12th dynasty, which contrast with the sandstone used in the later temple. It would appear that Senusret demolished earlier structures that the Mentuhoteps built in order to erect his own. His inscriptions record dedications, enumerate pious acts, and lay out the theological program of the temple. But it is what was left here a generation later that has attracted the most attention to ancient Djerty. King Amenemhet II left a gift of a different kind. 4 copper alloy chests, each inscribed with his cartouches, buried beneath the sanctuary floor. Opened by excavators in 1936, they yielded the famed Tod Treasure and changed how we think about the ancient world. Inside the Amenemhat chests lay a startling mix of riches. Silver vessels worked in repoussé, with motifs and techniques that parallel Minoan metalwork from Crete. Other pieces with Near Eastern styling, strings of cylinder seals carved with cuneiform, gold and silver ingots, and both finished in raw lapis lazuli from the far-off mountains of Afghanistan. The treasure provided tangible evidence for extensive international trade, connecting Egypt with the Aegean, Near East, and regions as distant as Afghanistan. It fundamentally transformed scholarly understanding of Middle Bronze Age trade networks. The bulk of the treasure can now be seen at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo and the Louvre in Paris. In the New Kingdom, during the 18th dynasty, the warrior king Thutmose III installed a barque shrine, the compact, purpose-built house for Montu's sacred boat, so the god could travel between sanctuaries at festival time. A line of sphinxes flanked the path to the temple entrance, the standard Egyptian device for turning a road into a sacred corridor. Approach mattered at El Tod, and the processional way advertised that importance. What survives of the avenue is fragmentary, torsos, paws, weathered faces, bases out of place, but there is enough to reconstruct the effect. I will show you a better preserved avenue of the sphinxes when we get to Luxor. The avenue was not just for everyday movement, it carried festival traffic. When Montu's barque emerged from its shrine on feast days, priests board along this path. The new building comes from the Ptolemaic period. Ptolemy VIII raised the sandstone pronaos that dominates the site today. Ptolemy XII extended and decorated it. The architecture blends Hellenistic and Egyptian themes. The walls are dense with raised and sunk relief. Ptolemaic rulers appear in full regalia, double crown, kilt, ceremonial beard, presenting offerings to Montu and companion deities. Look for the names of Ptolemy VIII and Ptolemy XII in traditional cartouches. Even without the colors that once animated them, the surfaces are busy with hieroglyphs that identify gods and record the king's pious acts. The design language is Hellenistic in its massing and rhythm, Egyptian in its iconography, and conscious of both. This is the period's hallmark, Hellenistic kings represented as pharaohs making offerings to Egyptian gods in scenes carved to classical Egyptian conventions. On the walls, the Ptolemies speak fluent Egyptian. In real life, they didn't. The pronaos once carried a roof to shade the threshold and stage processions. The columns are heavy and close set, with composite capitals that revel in botanical abundance, papyrus and lotus forms layered in the high florid style of the Greco-Roman age. The Roman administration maintained the complex, and under Antoninus Pius, the decoration continued.
Here we have evidence of the oldest part of the temple that we know of, because we have a cartouche of a king here. And which king is it? This is the cartouche of Userkaf. He was a king that reigned in the 5th dynasty, showing that there was in fact a temple here at the time of Userkaf. This is on Aswan granite, must have been magnificent, but a fragment from an old kingdom structure right here at ancient Djerty. And here's the other half. All right, now if you'll just all help me put them back together. Almost. See all these fragments that you see here? All up there, all along here. We're standing in some here, over here. The archaeologists have to, piece by piece, figure out where each one went, into what, they put them into separate piles for like different structures, right? All along here you can see ceiling stones. You see the stars on top? This goes on the ceiling. You can see part of a building over there. There's one here. Every structure they have to figure out where the piece goes. This goes here, this goes there. And they put them into rows for what walls they might be on. It's a long process, and you have to do that before you can reconstruct. Once you get all the pieces where they're supposed to go, then you can start figuring out how they were put together.
After Christianity took over the empire and the pagan temples closed, Christians built 2 Coptic churches within this precinct. From the 5th century, stone robbing and dismantling accelerated, and much pharaonic masonry took on second lives elsewhere. El Tod does not have a dedicated site museum. Artifacts discovered during excavations are housed in major museums. The site itself focuses on in situ architectural remains. Because El Tod is less visited than the major temples of Luxor and Karnak, coming here offers an opportunity for a more intimate encounter with ancient Egyptian religious architecture. The site rewards careful exploration. For those interested in understanding the full complexity of Egyptian civilization beyond the most famous monuments, El Tod provides an invaluable window into provincial temple architecture, international trade networks, religious transformation, and the long-term processes that shaped Egypt's cultural landscape. We turn our bows now toward Luxor, the ancient city of Waset, where the river opens onto Egypt's grandest stage. Over the next 3 episodes, we'll step through gates that have framed the hub of an empire. Luxor is everything we've been building toward. If Esna and El Tod showed us the power of a single temple, Luxor will show us a whole religious capital in motion. Cast off with me, because the next shore is the one that truly represents the Egyptian Empire.